What makes a real man? Big question, right? And there's a lot of stuff out there about what makes a real man, right? Is it how jacked you are, right? Not really. Is it how alpha AF you are, right? There's a lot of that stuff out there like, I'm the alpha man. Listen, if you have to say you're alpha, right? Buddy of mine says that the lion doesn't walk around the jungle telling everybody he's a lion. He's just a lion. So what makes a real man? Doesn't mean, and a real man's not walking around saying, I'm a real man. I'm a real man. He just is. So what is it that allows you to just be? Because that is what it is to be real, ultimately, right? So when we're asking this question, it's also what's the definition of these words? What is it to be real? And I would say it has a lot to do with being present, being true. True things are real things that matter. Okay. So there's a lot of layers of meaning to that, but I just want to dig in today to the one simple thing that determines. You might disagree with me, and that's fine. I'd love to hear your disagreeing argument in the comments if you do. But here's what I say is the one thing that determines whether someone a real man from everything else. It's the ability to face yourself. And that's it. Face your own dragons that live in here. Because if you don't, they grow out of control. And what happens is everybody else around you has to deal with them. That's an immature man. That's a little boy inside of a man's body who's too damn scared to face himself, to look in the mirror and face his own inner dragons. And so what happens is what I just said. Those dragons grow, and they grow out of control because they were never put in check. And then they just become a burden to everybody around them. And then what happens is the story develops of victimization. Oh, it's just how I am. It's this or that or whatever. Listen, I get it. It's not necessarily your fault. I want to be clear here. I'm not trying to beat you down if you're struggling with this, because we're not taught this. We're taught a lot of other surface level bullshit that has to do with getting jacked or I don't know, all this other stuff. And I want to be really clear. Again, I have no problem with fitness and getting jacked and all those kind of things. But when it's treated as that's the image of what it is to be a man, it's so shallow and surface level. What it is to be a man is to face yourself. Now, I respect in the process of gaining muscle, really being a true athlete, you do have to face yourself. So it's part of the journey. It's part of the path, right? But we can't turn the physical body into an idol. That's the problem. What has to the process that has to happen, the only process that matters for becoming real is to face yourself. And again, the process is to face what you're most scared of within yourself so that you're not making others deal with it because you didn't deal with it. That's the process. That's what makes a real man. And that's what leaves a legacy. So if you're interested in leaving a legacy of meaning and a value and of respect that other people will respect and remember, nobody's going to remember the man who goes around trying to tell everybody else, I'm confident. I'm a real man. I'm alpha. I'm alpha. The alpha dog in the pack never is the one running around barking and yapping. It's all the other dogs who are fighting each other, trying to jostle their way up the ranks. The alpha is. The dude abides, right? So if you want to grow, you have to face the insecurity of what's driving you to go around and say, I'm confident AF. That's my favorite. Confident AF. Okay. Why do you feel the need to go say that about yourself? Go look in the mirror and face your insecurity. That's your dragon. And until you do that, you will never be confident. You'll always be trying to put on a mask. And the mask inherently leads to insecurity because it's a foundation of sand. It's shifting. And it will always leave you vulnerable to your own damn insecurities because you're not facing. That's it. It's just simple. If you're leaving the monster inside, the monster's going to chase you and haunt you for the rest of your life. But when you face the monster, when you face the dragon, you become greater than the dragon because you've become a dragon slayer. That's what makes a real man. And it's shown throughout history in different aspects and personas of men who were great figures of history, great leaders. And now what did they do? They left a legacy, and they're remembered. One of my favorite figures like that is Gandhi. Well, one reason is because he doesn't fit the typical stereotype of like masculine man, right? He's this almost emaciated figure. But that was a person who faced himself at a deep level. And because of that, he was able to do great things, right? The ultimate example is Christ, right? There's somebody who it wasn't about going around and domineering. It was about doing that which was for the best, the greater good of all. And it wasn't about how he appeared, and it wasn't about pleasing people. It was about doing what was best for all. And if that meant being put on the cross, so be it. It wasn't about saying, you can't put me on this cross. Who do you think you are? I'm the alpha dog. We wouldn't remember that person. They don't get written down in history because they're just another yapping dog. So if you want to be a real man, face your dragons. Face that which you are most afraid of, which is in here. And it manifests out here. Because that's what, again, the dragons grow and grow and grow until they spread out throughout our whole life. And so I just want to encourage you. Ultimately, that's my goal here. So if I sound a little beating over your head, I apologize. My goal here is to encourage you to face your dragons. That is the path. You'll hear me say it over and over. Face your dragons, because the path to power lies through your pain. Whatever it is that you're experiencing in your life right now that is your greatest pain is the thing to lean into. Because through that process, it's not easy, but it does lead to healing. It does lead to you having power in your life, which is not right. Power sounds scary because we have like power trauma in our society or something. I don't know. Right. And there's this fear that like, well, power would be just abused. No, power can be abused. But for you to do anything worthwhile, meaningful, and good, you must carry and bear power. Like the sword in its sheath. It's good to have the sword so that you can do something and not just be meaningless, right? But you have substance. The sword is very real, but it's sheathed. That's a warrior. Samurai are a great example, arguably some of the greatest warriors ever, swordsmen of all time. Extremely dangerous, but very disciplined, right? The sword was sheathed. They were only dangerous to those who were a threat or an enemy. Otherwise, they were very trustworthy. Those who never learn the discipline to carry and bear that power, it's just flying out of control because the energy will always flow. Okay, so face your dragons. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you want help, if you want support in this, there's something coming up for you. Excuse me. Something's coming up in my throat. If there's something coming up for you in this process of listening to this video, and if it's too personal to drop in the comments, which I totally get, a lot of times it is. I've had so many of those things and continue to. That's why I continue to get coaching and accountability for myself as a coach, right? I don't think you should trust a coach who does not have a coach. But what I'm getting at is, right, if there's something coming up for you that you want some support, you want some help, you want to move forward with, is a major block or a major pain in your life that you want to pass through to claim your power and be a real man, reach out to me. Send me a message. I'm very open to those. I'd love to engage with you. Right. So, or if you've got something you want to drop in the comments, I'm really happy to read those and engage there. So again, thanks for watching this. We'll talk again soon.